Hey, it's 7 o'clock. Good evening. It's good to see a full house. Thanks everybody coming. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Brooks,
Here.
Kushner,
Here.
Lund,
Here.
Bentley,
Here.
Holmberg.
Here. Okay, item 331, city council minutes of March 28th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, item 5, this time I remember to adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, item 5, I-51 Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We're going to read a proclamation, but Savannah Zink reached out to me, and she's a high school student, and wanted to know what we could do and how she could help in the community. And I was very impressed anytime a high school student takes this much involvement. And so we certainly invited her. And Savannah, have you decided, do you want to speak or not? Okay, well, then that's good. Then everybody that's here for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, please come forward. We're going to read a proclamation. And I will admit that I haven't had kids or anything in school for a while, so I called Savannah and she answered while at school, and I said, just tell them the mayor called. It's okay. So anyway, come on up front.
It's about you.
Oh, come on, guys. I took it before council. Robin's on there. Come on. It's sort of this. All right.
Come over here.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure you
Finish
go
shuffling. All right. Well, thank you guys again. This is it's an honor to do proclamations. Glad everybody comes. So whereas April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and a time to draw attention to the prevalence of sexual assault and educate individuals and communities about how to prevent it. And whereas sexual assault is a devastating abuse of power, one that affects people of every age, race, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, natural origin, socioeconomic background, and religion. In the United States alone, there are an average of 463,634 victims of rape and sexual assault aged 12 and over a year. Every 68 seconds, another American is sexually assaulted. And whereas sexual harassment, assault, and abuse can happen anywhere, including in online spaces, now more than ever, screens and technologies connect us with others. But far too long, harassment, cyberbullying, and sexual abuse have been seen as unavoidable behaviors online. And whereas this year marks the 21st anniversary of SAAM, and the theme of this year's campaign is building safe online spaces together. We can build online communities free from sexual harassment, abuse, and assault by practicing digital consent, intervening when we see harmful behaviors, and promoting online communities of value, inclusion, safety, and respect. And whereas together we can make a difference to build inclusive, safe, respectful communities by working alongside our local organization, Survival House. Survival House provides crisis hotline for victims to discuss options, emergency shelter, referrals to other agencies, case management, crisis intervention, court advocacy, resource advocacy, professional therapy, support groups, and a volunteer program. Now, therefore, I, Scott Holmberg, Mayor of the City of Warrensburg, join advocates, communities across the country in proclaiming that we can build a safe online spaces together, and do hereby proclaim the month of April to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, 11th of April, 2022. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead if you want.
I just wanted to let everybody know that we will also be involved in the community for the rest of the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We'll be at UCM for a couple more events. There's a Me Too event that will be tomorrow at UCM at 4:30. And then What Were You Wearing event that will be both the 27th and 28th, again at UCM from 8:30 to 2 p.m. That you can come out and visit us and learn a little bit more about sexual assault. So,
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, thank you all very much.
I'm sorry.
That's my normal. Very comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay, give me just a minute to get back up here. Okay. Moving on to item 6.1, National Exercise Trainer Association, presented by Book Brown, Recreation Supervisor. Brooke?
First off, I want to thank you all for giving me your time and allowing me to speak tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brooke Brown and I'm the Recreation Supervisor of Fitness at the Community Center here. So my National Exercise Training Association is the group I got my certification from in January. So this was a 2-day thing and I went on January 8th and we actually hosted it at the community center. I and 4 other people were in this workshop. These are a few of the points that we covered for the exam that we took that day. And I'll go over in depth a few of those. So one of the main things of being a fitness professional is the roles that we play. Being a coach and a facilitator, an instructor, a referral source, and a role model for the community as well as myself. Another big part of being a group exercise instructor is the communication and the relationship building that we do within our organizations as well. So the big thing that we talked about was that the way you say things and how you say them and your nonverbal cues are kind of a big part of how we kind of interact with one another. So the largest part is 55%, and that's our body language. So all of our nonverbal cues, how we stand, how we present ourselves when we're talking to somebody. The next largest part is how you say it, and that's 38%. And then the smallest part is what you say. So really the words that I'm speaking right now is the smallest part that people usually pay attention to. Along with those relationship building, we talk about open-ended questions and closed-ended questions, and some of the active listening skills that are important for being a group exercise instructor. These are questioning, repeating, clarifying or reflecting, paraphrasing, summarizing, and having minimal exchange. One of the models that stood out to me when we learned about these was the behavioral change and motivation. This is also known as the trans-theoretical model. There are 5 steps to this model, and I'm going to briefly describe which each step stands for. So the first one is pre-contemplation, and this means that a participant has no intention of changing their behavior. The second step is contemplation, and this means that they're considering one or more changes. So they're either going to change their habits and their nutrition plans, or they may consider throwing in exercise throughout their daily routines. The third step is preparing for these changes. They're either physically or mentally preparing, and this could be any example of buying a membership to a gym or going and buying active wear so that they're getting in the mindset of I'm going to work out and I'm going to make this lifestyle change. The fourth step is the action. This means that they are consistently going to the gym or changing their eating for less than 6 months, and it's on a regular basis. So whether it's once or twice a week or every day. The last step is maintenance. This means that they're continuing their routine for greater than 6 months of their regular activity, and they're now considering this a lifestyle change. The next biggest part is probably the most that you see when you are going to a group fitness class, and that's obviously the programming and the exercise formatting for the class. So there are 3 main parts in an exercise class, and the first one is a warm-up, and that's getting your heart rate up in a manner that you're preparing your body and telling your heart that you're about ready to participate in some moderate or vigorous activity. The next portion is the main section of the group, and that's the exercise portion. We typically learn about these in an acronym called FIT, which means frequency, so how often you do it, intensity, which is how hard you do it, and then time for how long you do it, and the type, so whether it's cardio or strength training or any aerobic or anaerobic activity. The last part of the class is known as the cool down, and this is the stretching part of the workout, or kind of bringing your heart rate down. So whether you go for a run and then walk for 10 minutes afterwards, or if you do a strength training workout and then do foam rolling afterwards, or any static stretching. So after learning about all of those things in the workshop, we had to take an exam, and we had two hours to take the exam after this workshop. The exam was made up of 4 components, and the components were group fitness class development and design, implementation of group fitness class, engagement and leadership of group fitness participants, and professional responsibilities and conduct. The 5th part of the exam was 20 experimental questions, and this is for a part that I'll get to later on in my presentation. So with being an instructor, my certification is only valid for 2 years. So every 2 years, I'll have to have 20 continuing education credits, and 6 of these must be from the National Exercise Training Association organization. And then there's a $65 renewal fee. On Sunday, I took the nutrition coach specialty class and spent a few hours learning about the items mentioned on the right side of the page. The 6 essential nutrients are known as carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fats, and water. We also went over the dietary guidelines for Americans, and we are actually on the updated version that was written in 2020, and then will be re-updated after the year of 2025. So some of the main things that we talked about were supplements. Most of these are known as whey, soy, plant-based proteins, weight loss supplements, or performance enhancing. A few of the core elements for the health dietary pattern may look familiar. It's kind of with that My Plate that the schools go off of. So it has your vegetables, your fruits, your grains, your dairy, your protein, and your oils. In this workshop, we also learned about the self-efficacy theory. A few of these are how we're motivated either internally or externally, whether it's mastery experience, which is most beneficial for me because I learned from my past experiences. And that's usually related to your degree of success and how well you performed it before. The next one is social modeling. So this is where you look at others and you compare yourself to their success, or you read other articles of success stories. Social persuasion is verbal or nonverbal with people around or through us. So that's whether you take a friend to the gym, or that you invite them to go, or they invite you to go. So it's just the people around you who are trying to motivate you to live a healthier lifestyle as well. And the last one is stress perception reduction. And this is reframing one's self-perception of a stressful aspect. And you're trying to pinpoint that stress or that emotional cause that's creating that stress to try and relieve it. So after attending these 2, I was actually reached back out to by the director of NEDA certifications, and I ended up sitting on the standard setting panel in March, beginning of March. So for my incentive to attend this setting panel, I was awarded 1 NEDA continuing education credit for every hour that I participated, and that actually ended up being about 15 hours over the course of 2 days. And then my $65 renewal fee was waived. In this panel, I worked directly with Michael Isserman, who is the Director of Certifications with NEDA, along with Jim Henderson, who is a PhD in a consulting psychometrician, and he is certified in licensing and testing. On this panel, there were several of us who sat on it, And they were from North Carolina, Washington, Georgia, Ohio, South Carolina, Colorado. And then I came from Missouri, but I'm originally from Iowa. So I was in Iowa when I took it, but I was based out of Warrensburg, so I said Missouri and Iowa. So, and then I was the most recent examinee that took the test, so they wanted my perspective on the next portion of the panel that we did. A few key terms and definitions that we learned were minimum proficiency, cut score, stakeholders, and the Angoff modified technique. The main one that I want to focus on right now is the minimum proficiency, and this means that it ranges from very low levels of knowledge and skill to expert levels of ability. It's the line of understanding of the needs of clients, typical responsibilities the newly certified group exercise instructors possess that are sufficient of knowledge and skill. So keeping the minimally proficient definition in your mind, this is how we worked on the rest of the panel. And we were working on trying to create the updated version of the group exercise test. So it's the next version of it. Within this test, creating this exam consists of 5 components: job task analysis, the test blueprint, test setting, standard setting, and then the test being administered. So we were working on the test setting and the standard setting of the new exam. So what we did was Jim had us take the test, not having studied, not looking at the material, take it like we were actually in that group for the first time trying to get our certification. After that, we went through the entire test, went through all the different questions, some of the ones that we had the most discrepancy on. So whether some of us thought it was super hard or some of us thought it was super easy. And we actually did this 3 different times. So I ended up taking the test 4 times within 2 days. Being with that minimally proficient, we were supposed to rate each question out of the 120 questions that we had based on the level of knowledge that a minimally proficient examinee would have when taking this test. So that would be somebody who is 18 years old and they just have a high school diploma. So somebody coming straight out of high school, trying to go back to that mindset of what does somebody have to know at the base level to be able to be certified for this exam. And then we all, on our Zoom panel, had discussions about why we rated a question the way we did. And we were able to kind of get different backgrounds and thinkings of how other people kind of process that information. Me being the youngest one taking it, they were they liked my input because I was able to be like, I studied most recently, took the test in January, passed, and obviously I had retained more information than they had since they hadn't taken it for 20 or 30 years. So having them taking the test the first time without knowing anything, and then having me coming in only a couple months out and taking the test, it was kind of cool to see which questions I thought were harder and which questions they thought were harder because I had that information retained. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions for? It's always appreciative to have people come and share. Thanks to the Parks Department for giving you some time to present. Okay. Okay, we'll go on to item 7, first reading of only ordinance. 7.1, first reading of an ordinance approving and accepting a final plat of Deerfield lots 26A and 27A, a subdivision in the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, located on Somerset Drive and Fairway Drive. Barb?
Mr. Mayor and City Council, this is a replat of 2 existing lots in the Deerfield subdivision. There's currently a single family house on each of the lots. The property at 200 Fairway Drive constructed a secondary structure, an accessory structure in the backyard. And it does not currently meet the setback requirements, the side setback requirements. So the 2 property owners have come to agreement and presented this plat, which would move the lot line between the 2 properties. 7.6 feet to the west, which would allow the structure to meet the 7.5-foot setback from the side lot line. It would also creates a private ingress egress easement over the existing cart path that lays on that same ground. So it would move from being on the property at 603 Somerset Drive to being on the property at 200 Fairway Drive, but it will stay in the exact same place on the ground. That is a private easement between the HOA and the property owners, so it is not to the city. The city has no maintenance responsibilities or any responsibility for that private easement that's being created. The applicants and their design professionals have made all the requirement changes that staff has required. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the ordinance and the plat as submitted at their meeting last week. The staff would recommend approval of the ordinance. You just have it on your agenda for a first reading this evening. The Mallorys are here as the owners of 200 Fairway Drive, if you have any questions for the applicants.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, on to 8, second reading of an ordinance. The ordinance authorizing execution of an agreement between the city of Warrensburg and Johnson County Fire Protection District for automatic mutual aid, presented by Chief Jennings.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. This agreement again between the city of Warrensburg and the Johnson County Fire Protection District establishes working relationship beyond our current mutual aid to establish some criteria for automatic aid to initiate the response to resources earlier in the incident. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance. Yeah, to answer the question. Yeah.
Move to approve.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, item 9, first and second reading ordinance. An ordinance amending section 2-59 and 2-64 of the Code of Ordinances regarding closed records and records requests, presented by Jody.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor and members of the council, it came to our attention that there was an unexpected veto that occurred on the legislative bill used for the changes made in August of 2021 to the Sunshine Law ordinance. The attached proposed ordinance has been prepared to effectively repeal those changes then enacted by ordinance 5675. Further, as the state legislature continues to look at changes to Sunshine Law, and they have in the past, the last 10 years or so, made several changes. The language that's proposed is to track the most up-to-date version of the state law on closed records, just to simplify the process. City clerk and recommends passage of the ordinance. Yeah, any questions on that or?
Move to pass that ordinance to second reading by title.
An ordinance amending sections 2-59 and 2-64 of the Code of Ordinances regarding closed records and record requests.
I think we have to vote on this.
Oh, I'm sorry, on the moving. So sorry.
That's quite fine.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try that again. An ordinance amending sections 2-59 and 2-64 of the Code of Ordinances regarding closed records and records request. This is for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 9.2, we've got a first and second reading of an ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute an agreement with RCN Communications LLC for police department rugged laptops and associated hardware. Danielle?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Currently, the police department personnel are using computers that are permanently installed in their police vehicles. This means that each officers have their own login, but the equipment is not specific to them. That equipment is becoming obsolete. The parts and pieces to replace it are becoming harder and more difficult to find. Additionally, it is very difficult for our IT staff to provide support to these permanent in-car computers. Our recommendation is to move forward with laptops. These would be assigned to each police officer. They would be able to take that laptop from car to the squad room, or if we ever ran into a situation where we needed to work from home again, they could also take their computers with them, write their reports remotely, so they would not have to all be sitting in a squad room at the same time. Additionally, moving to this system, we would actually be reducing the number of computers in the squad room. So we will be reducing some redundancy of IT equipment that we have. We will also be moving some of those desktop stations and working them into workstations that do have those desktop stations, which will be reducing our replacement plan cost in fiscal year 2023. We put this requirement out to bid. We received 3 responses. The best and lowest bid was from RCN Communications. The total amount is $120,345. We will be using American Rescue Plan Act funds to pay for these. We are requesting a first and second reading this evening, as we mentioned at the last city council meeting, due to supply chain issues and getting equipment delivered. We want to keep this moving forward as fast as we can. Happy to answer any questions. If there are any technical questions, our IT manager, Gary Swanson, is also here to answer this.
Do you approve this?
I'm sorry?
Do you approve this message?
Yes.
Move the said bill be passed the second reading by title.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to execute an agreement with RCN Communications LLC for police department rugged laptops and associated hardware for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, we can go to item number 9.3, first and second reading of an ordinance approving a contract for sale of certain real property to Evergy within the city of Warrensburg. Danielle?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. At the January 24th, 2022 meeting, City Council approved a conditional use permit for land use 18200 Community Utility Facility on the southwest corner of Warren and Pine Streets. This is 300 West Pine Street for Evergy to construct a substation. The city of Warrensburg owns the 3 lots to the west of the Evergy parcel. The site includes a total area of 25,300 square feet and is unimproved. During discussions of the rezoning and conditions of the conditional use permit, it was determined necessary for the city to sell those 3 lots to Evergy. This allows them to meet the necessary setbacks and buffer requirements for the proposed substation. An appraisal of the land determined the market value to be $21,300. Evergy will submit a minor plat application to combine the 4 lots into one. The ordinance before you tonight is to sell that property to Evergy for $25,000. Again, we are requesting this as a first and second reading.
Move to approve said ordinance, the second reading by title.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes.
An ordinance approving a contract for sale of certain real property to Evergy within the city of Warrensburg for adoption or rejection. Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Moving on to 10, other business, 10-1, a resolution approving the installation of public art by Main Street Incorporated, Rise Community Services, and Sterling Elementary on the fencing of the alley stairs and on private fencing at Holden and Market Streets. Marcel?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you this evening is a resolution. The Warrensburg Main Street approached the Arts Commission with this proposal after working with Rise and Sterling Elementary to draft the art canvases and hang them on the fences. And the Arts Commission approved that at their last meeting, and it's brought before you for installation on public and private property. And I believe we have Arts Commission and Main Street representatives here as well to answer any questions related to this.
Just a compliment to Arts Commission. They're really starting to move forward, so appreciate that. Look for a motion.
Move to approve a resolution.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, on to item 10-2, a resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation bonds to the city of Warrensburg, Missouri. Marcella, you're back up.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. Thanks to our residents and citizens of Warrensburg for authorizing the issuance of $17 million in general obligation bonds. It says a lot for what they want to see as far as improvements and specifically to infrastructure for our city. And fortunately, all of you heard all this and did all this in August when we issued the first $5 million. And this is the remaining 12 million of that 17 million. It takes advantages of the current lower interest rates and try to get these done before interest rates go up any higher. Mr. Todd Goffey is here as our financial representative. If we have any specific questions, before you is the calendar of events that have taken place. So there'll be lots of things happening over the next 25 to 30 days as we finish this. And just as a note, when the ordinance is drafted and brought to your attention or for council on the May 9th meeting, that will be requested at a first and second reading, because we will have authorization to issue those bonds and the sale will happen that particular day.
Look for a motion.
Move to approve resolution.
Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, on to item 11, appearances of council not listed on the agenda. Okay. Item 12, miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or city council.
I just, just wanted to say to the Warrensburg PD, I came across an incident this past weekend and there was a crowd of people gathering around, camera phones and everything. And I just want to say your officers were professional. They kept their cool, kept everybody under control without any major incidents. So I just want to say, pass that along to them that they did a great job. So,
Anyone else? Okay. Item 13, Director of Finance report. Marcella?
Thank you. So this evening, you've got in front of you some information as far as revenue generation for the first 6 months of the fiscal year. Right now, everything seems to be hitting on target and a little bit above budget, definitely higher prices. And so higher revenues, particular to sales taxes with the first 6 months as well compared to last year. And also proud to announce the fact that we did receive notification from the National GFOA that we received the budget award once again for fiscal year 22. So that'll be a press release and information go out for that.
Well,
And I'll
thank
be
you.
happy to answer your questions.
All right. City manager report, item 14.
I think we have several directors who have quick updates this evening, but we'll start with City Clerk Schneider.
Thank you. So, Mayor and Council, we received this later this afternoon, the certification results from the April 5th election. The transition, though, will take place at the next meeting on April 25th. It's just received a little late, so late for our meeting. Thank you.
I just have a few things. I want to give an update. As you know, we had an incident in the community center pool where the ductwork fell. That is all original to the building. And so we are working with the engineers that re-engineered the flat roof, the green roof that's on there now. We're grateful no one was hurt when it fell. And Bill Griggs is helping us work through that project. We've met with insurance and the engineers, and I'll keep you posted, but right now the pool will be down until we can get it fixed and secured. And then we are getting all the restrooms open in the parks. So the only one that's not open and de-winterized is Shepherd. So we should be able to go for a walk in this beautiful weather and stop by a restroom if we need to. And then my final update, we are joining all of the awesome agencies that help put on Bright Sox this year, the inclusive baseball program. And so that will start on May 9th. It'll alternate Tuesdays and Thursdays. We will play at Lions Lake. And one of the things that the agencies brought to us was the past few years, there have been issues getting onto the field because there's a concrete lip where they go in the dugout. And so we purchased 2 ramps. So hopefully those with mobility devices will be able to get in a little bit easier. If you want to volunteer and help out, let me know and I can get you plugged in.
Last week, we did all the ladder testing in the department. Unfortunately, our new aerial truck did not pass that test. When the ladder is fully extended, it's permitted an inch drop in the fly sections, or a half an inch drop in those fly sections. It went an inch, so it wasn't able to be certified. So we're working through the process now of getting the manufacturer to take a look at it to see what all the parts that are needed to replace that, to get that back in service. So still pumping the truck. We're just down one ladder. We still have the other one in service station too. So
Is this still under warranty?
the parts are, it looks like the labor won't be, but
Thank you.
You always have something to say, Marcy.
Nice, I'm living brief. Okay, so there's a few changes from my director's report since I submitted it on Thursday. The visitor center will be closed on Wednesday of this week. I'll be able to attend the quarterly MOPAS meeting, which is held by MoDOT. So I'll be able to attend that and learn a little bit more about some plans that are going on for Amtrak. Following that meeting, a lot of us that are communities that are located on the Missouri River are going to go across straight to the Capitol to talk about the importance of the second train and try to reinforce how important it is to have that in our community and all the other communities for Missouri tourism. And then, okay, don't forget, WCBB board meeting this Thursday, 10 o'clock here. And then we will do a tour of 205 North Golden, the soon to be home of the Warrensburg Visitor Center. The Care Connections organization is holding a volunteer fair on April 26th at the Johnson County Fairgrounds. Johnson County Tourism will be kicking off that event with a presentation at 9 o'clock. And then spring exercise tips. So I will be probably leaving the podium at that point. But if you would like to join, it's free and it's come and go. And they're going to have a lot of great organizations. I've heard a lot from a lot of different organizations, even including the city of Warrensburg will have a booth there. So please come out to the fairgrounds if you'd like to learn more about some more volunteer opportunities or just some more things that are happening in our community, our area. The visitor center is moving. We will be moving back home, not too far from here, the last week of April, and the goal is to open up back up to the public May 4th. So we'll do press release and news and keep everybody updated on Facebook as well. We know that with moving, things happen, and so we're just gonna, our tentative schedule is just as I've given you. We will keep everyone up to date. Okay.
Mayor Holmberg, in conclusion, I just wanted to point out that the Arts Commission did submit a report in the city managers, along with the city manager's report. That was the first time in a while that that's been done. So I just wanted to make sure to bring your attention to that and thank the Arts Commission for submitting that.
Appreciate that. Okay. All right, item number 15, we have a closed session tonight. So we're going to vote to close part of this meeting pursuant to section 610 .021 of the revised statutes of Missouri relating to item 2, leasing, purchase, or sale of real estate where public knowledge might adversely affect the amount paid in the transaction. Roll call.
Sorry, Brooks,
Yes.
Kushner,
Yes.
Lund,
Yes.
Bentley,
Yes.
Holmberg.
Yes. Okay, that meeting is adjourned.